Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. So just a quick little video because there's so many of you guys that are getting on the platform right now, and I get these really sad messages and DMs about some of the pitfalls that you guys encounter that actually end up being quite terrible, and it's gonna leave you with being stuck in a bad situation. Listen, if you've listed your car on the platform and you're new and you're still figuring out the system, the one sure way to protect yourself as you learn everything and you figure out how to do rentals and you get better at it and you figure out how to provide better experiences, please, three things. Make sure you have tracking devices in your cars. Do not rent your car out without trackers. Please, because when you least expect it, that is when something's gonna go wrong, and it's going to be a major issue if you don't know where your car is. That's going to save you a lot of headache and trouble, and you just want to be able to go to sleep at night and not worry. So it's such an easy solution. Go find yourself a GPS tracker. Some cars already have it built in, but make sure you have that. Number two, when you do rent out your car to a guest, make sure that you verify their driver's license, their name, their date of birth, and to make sure that the license is valid, check that expiration date. It took me a long time, probably years, to get into the habit of checking the expiration date, because typically you're going through the motions so fast that you don't stop to really look at that expiration date. And oftentimes, especially because of the pandemic and the delays with the DMV and it being more difficult to go to the DMV, these days, a lot of people do have expired driver's licenses. If they do not have a valid license and something happens during that trip, your coverage, your insurance can totally be negated. So don't even take that chance. Make sure you verify. If you're doing contactless bookings, you have to make sure that you get a photo of their driver's license and then one of the guests actually holding their driver's license so that you can match the face to the license. Very important. Don't even rent your car out if you're not going to do this, because it is just so dumb to take that risk and potentially end up with the liability of whatever the cost of damages or accidents or theft might be. So it's just, don't do it. And then finally, make sure that you are taking proper check-in and check-out photos. Before you hand your car off to a guest, take full 360 photos of the car. Make sure you get the interior, you get your dash, mileage, gas, all of it. I typically take around maybe 50 photos per check-in and check-out. So it ends up being close to 100 photos for one trip. That might sound like a lot, but literally when you're going through the process of going around your car and you're just snapping photos, 50 photos goes like that, and it really captures everything that you need. I'm probably a bit on the more excessive side of taking photos. I think you can probably get away with doing maybe 30 to 35 and capture everything, but I like to have more just to make sure that I'm fully covered, because if you don't have those check-in photos and something happens to your car, you're not going to have coverage because you have no proof of the condition in which you gave the renter your car in. So if you don't have the documentation and the evidence provided for that reservation, you're out of luck. So again, why put yourself in that position when that could totally be avoided, okay? So 3 things for all of my hosts that are new on the platform. Do not rent your cars out without trackers. So important. There's so many on the market. I use a company called TrackMate GPS. They've been good. You hardwire it. You can find so many. There's tons of them. Just go research online, go to Amazon. They're inexpensive. They're very easy to install. It's easy, okay? Second, make sure that you're verifying the driver's license. Make sure that the name matches, the date of birth matches, and that you are getting the photos and checking that expiration date. Because if you rent your car out to a person with an expired driver's license, you could potentially negate insurance coverage. And then finally, make sure you take in your check-in photos, and not that you just take them, but you upload them at the time that the reservation is starting. A little tip is, when you go through that check-in process, Turo reveals the name of the renter and their date of birth at the very end of the check-in process. Why it's like that, I'm not really too sure, but that is the name and date of birth that you want to match up to the driver's license. Because sometimes people, for whatever reason, will put like a nickname on their Turo profile, or it could, that name on the reservation could be different from what you see in the check-in process. So you want to make sure that you're always matching it up to whatever is at the end of the check-in process. So what does that mean? That means you need to complete your check-in process prior to the guest taking the car, prior to them leaving with it. So I always upload all my photos before the guest even gets there. And because I do contactless, I have them upload their driver's license and their selfie holding their license way before the reservation even starts, right? Like usually at least 5 to 6 hours before. That way I have a copy of it already under the trip photos. I can verify it and check it against what the check-in process shows me and just make sure that everything is squared away. You don't want to do it last minute, because if they do have a driver's license that is expired, or maybe the name doesn't match up, whatever it might be, then you want there to be enough time to tell them what to do next or cancel the trip or whatever, you know, free up your calendar. So please, please, please follow those 3 things, because I get all these messages about from people who, you know, their car went out on a trip, it got into an accident and they didn't get coverage, or they didn't take check-in photos, so they can't make a claim for the damages that happened during the trip because there's no evidence. So all these things are very important, and it's just, there's no reason to carry that risk or liability because you missed one of those things. If you can't do one of those 3 things, you really shouldn't do Turo, because it is just way too risky, way too risky. Why would you want to take on that financial liability? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so that is just a little friendly reminder, because I see these messages and it's really sad when people are new to the platform and that's the experience they have because they missed a step in the process. So hopefully this will help some of you guys out that are just getting started on the platform, but these are very important. If you're a host that's already on the platform and you've been doing this for a while, if you have any other tips for the community, especially for those people just getting started, it'd be great if you can chime into a comment section. I think that'd be super helpful for people. All right, you guys, on that note, that's it. Thanks again for watching. My name is Saimah. This is Saimah's Experience. Have a great rest of your day. And if you like this channel, be sure to subscribe. Take care, guys.